Hello, 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 and welcome. This is Her Talk Show. My name is Sabrina Victoria. I am here with Orshi. We're so excited to be diving into the world of websites today. Super, super excited about this topic, especially since I just had all of my websites rebranded recently. So it's diving deep into the world of websites and all of the different ways to get better views, to get better traffic on those websites. We're going to be diving into that. This is something that's been weighing on you for a while. You're going to want to check in and take a seat, grab some tea, and listen in. Let's go. If you're listening live, welcome. And if you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can send you some love in the comments. I am here all the time, delving deep into the realms of health, wealth, and leadership with some of the most brilliant women globally. We speak directly to women business owners. So if you are a woman in business, you're going to want to pull up a chair. I've interviewed over 800 women. Today, we are adding another one to the list. We have Orshi in the hot seat today. Orshi partners with established coaches and consultants, helping them scale their business for more impact, more income, and more flexibility through clarity and systems. Businesses that have grown through one-to-one services, referrals, and reputation, but are struggling with outdated websites. Ladies, we see so many outdated websites and messy systems. With 12 plus years in design and consulting, she helps them get aligned first, then translates that clarity into strong online presence and streamlined systems that reduce manual work and support growth. So you've been doing this for around what, 7, 8 years?
Yeah, 8 years. 8.5 years, actually.
How many industries? What have you covered? Tell us.
All the industries? Oh my God, it's been over 47. I just counted the other day, and I think I left it somewhere around 25. I was like, I was always referring it to as being 25. I'm like, let me check. It was actually 47 different industries, and it was just like mind blowing. And out of which 35 was redesigns. So
Wow.
People who already had a website and they've been doing well in their businesses, but their website was outdated, their branding was all over the place, and they needed help with rebranding that online presence.
Totally. What would be the top, maybe like the top 2, 3 industries that you predominantly lean into? What would you say?
Most of the people that I work with are coaches and consultants. It's mostly around health, business, so business coaching or money coaching, money mindset coaches, health coaches, and nutrition. Interesting.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I have found the most now that I'm delving into the website world with you is it's kind of a never-ending rabbit hole of just like everything is connected to the fucking website. It's crazy. You think like, let me get my website done. And then, dude, it goes in so many different directions.
Yeah, no, if I can tell you, if I would have a penny for every time I heard that, I would be probably a millionaire by now. Funnily, what I found, or it's not that funny actually, it's a bit sad in that sense, but also eye-opening. For the past 8 years working with all these different businesses and different industries, I've seen the same patterns emerging every time. And they were all struggling with the same areas, regardless if they were making 6 or 7 figures, even beginner. We're not just talking about beginners, right? These are established businesses who've been doing really well, and then they still struggle. So it looks good on the front end, but the back end is overwhelming and they feel burnt out. And they've been struggling with these 4 areas. And the main one, which I think most of the women business owners can relate to, is I need more visibility. Like, I want to get more eyes on what I'm doing. I need more traffic. And then they end up doing a lot of social media and networking, and they focus on all different places. And it's just not working well because their messaging is all over the place. So as you say, like, everything links back to the website. And they try to do so many different things, like, oh, let me do all the social media platforms. I want to be on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and TikTok, and I don't even know if there's any other that actually people use, YouTube, right? And they spend a lot of time showing up there, and they think like, oh, I have to do it differently on LinkedIn, and I have to do it differently on Instagram and Facebook. So it ends up being scattered and all over the place, and they all lead back to the website, which is a completely different messaging and completely different offer. So no wonder people get lost along the way. So that's one of the main things I found was, I need traffic. I want more eyes on my thing, but I don't know how to do that. So they do all of it.
Yeah. So one of the things I'd love to dive in with you today is around the things that people struggle with the most around their website. But before we dive into that, I'd love to have just a candid conversation with you about when people first start their business, right? You and I are in a world of women business owners that have just started or have been on their own for 12, 15 plus years, right? There's a range. And I know, speaking for myself, when I first started, I didn't have any money to pay somebody to do a really good, solid website for myself. So I'd love to, before we kind of dive into these struggles that we see all the time, I'd love to just kind of get your take on when is a good time? When should a woman start thinking about really investing in herself, her business, and her brand? Because I know it can hurt, right? It can hurt financially, but it does need to get done. What are you seeing in the industry as a good time for a woman to really start thinking about getting rid of that homemade website made, or her sister made, or her daughter made for her, and actually teaming up with someone like yourself who is fully committed, understands design, consulting in this area, and invest in their business?
That's a very great question. And I believe the first and most important thing is to have an offer that you've been selling consistently and with success.
Okay.
So you already have that figured out. You know your audience, you know what you're selling, and you sold it to a couple of people. Because if that works, then you get that financial, I would say, safety, obviously, depending on how much you make with that offer, but at least you have something coming in. And for a while, like when someone's starting out first, everything is going to be all over the place, obviously. After you can do all of it for the first couple of years just by looking at YouTube videos, pretty much, following the gurus, following the experts, using really cheap tools to test out the idea, to test out the audience, and to get traction and become successful and get more confident in what you do. I think the best time to reach out to someone to ask for help is when you're ready to get to the next level, which is, I actually want to scale this. I'm done with the one-on-ones, especially for coaches and consultants, or even architects. Like, they do work with a lot of one-on-one clients, right? When they want to steer from the one-on-one in-person things to more towards online one-to-many, and I want to have more impact, and I want to have systems in place. I'm done with being the bottleneck and being the decision maker all the time, and I want to have help. Like, these are the times when people want to hire virtual assistants or contractors who can do some of the work so they don't have to do it, so they can think about strategy. When that time comes, that's when you would reach out to an expert who can help you get clarity on what is the direction you would need to take. And it's not just about the clarity, but also having a roadmap and clarifying what needs to be done first. That would be the main domino piece that can like drop the rest and making it easier to implement.
I love that. And that's definitely where it was for me. So I'm really glad that I asked this question. When I came to you to do my websites, I literally was at a point where I had a conversation with myself, and I was like, am I completely 100% committed to this in all the ways that it's going to take me? And is this something that I think that I can make really good money in? Those are like the two really tough conversations, because there comes a point where you have to commit fully. I think a lot of times when we're a business, it's like I could go get a job at Target, or I could own my own business. I could run a McDonald's, or I could own my own business. I could be an admin at a dentist's office, or I could run my business. And these are like real conversations because we're raised in a society of 9 to 5. A lot of us came from 9 to 5. That's what we're used to. That's where we're comfortable. It's salary. You're going to get your money no matter what. It feels good. And then there's running your business. And there's a point when you're running your business where you have to decide, I'm going to just fucking do this.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm going to do. I am not going to go back to a 9 to 5. Not that we don't still think about it every once in a while, but we're not going back to a 9 to 5. We are absolutely doing this. And there's a conversation that I had with myself. I started in 2021. So when did I team up with you in 2020? Was it just last year, 2025? So I probably started having the conversation with myself in 2024. So I was probably 3 years in. Then I had to figure out my fucking finances. Like, how much is this going to cost? You know, how much am I willing to invest? What is this going to look like? And then by 2025 is when I pulled the trigger and started interviewing or working with individuals to see who I wanted to work with. And you were my favorite. But yeah, I totally agree that we need to be making some sort of income and we need to be certain.
Yeah. And I so agree with what you said about always thinking about, oh yeah, I could go back to a 9 to 5. And it is the old pattern that we're going back to because that gives us safety. I have regular income coming in. Yep. Yes. And how miserable you were when you were doing your 9 to 5. I remember that. And it's been more than 8 years now since I left corporate. Yeah. And there was a time when every day I woke up and I was like, I'm just so grateful for not having to be there. Yes, I still have issues. Yes, I'm still dealing with a lot of things that are not fun. But I am my own boss and I get to do whatever I want. I'm making the decisions. And yes, they are scary. And sometimes I want just someone else to come in and make that decision and just take that load off of me. But at the end of the day, if you create a pro and con list of which one gives you the financial freedom as well as the other goals, or how you can reach those other goals that you have with flexibility in time and being able to do what you love and having an impact and working with the people you actually can help and be able to be with your family and take time off and all these things, you'll probably weigh more on the side of running your business with all that it comes with it.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. All right. So now that we're on the same page, around we need to get an expert to do our freaking website eventually, a couple years in, once we're set, we're ready to go. I'd love for you to dive into all the areas that I am seeing people struggle with. I get on the calls with individuals all the time. I go onto their website. I'm expecting something, and then I see a total effing mess. And I know that you see this all the freaking time, which is why people hire you to do their websites. I'd love for you to kind of dive into the struggles that you're seeing individuals have. And I think sometimes they don't even know they're having these struggles. Mm-hmm. They don't even know it's a struggle that are really hurting them. And to really emphasize how important it is to eventually invest in your brand and hire an expert who can do your website for you. So I don't know, what are your thoughts around that? What are the struggles that you're seeing?
I would differentiate between someone who's starting out from someone who's already doing well in her business. And I would emphasize more those who are doing well in her business because their businesses, because I think that's where there's a lot of hidden costs that they're paying that they don't realize. Also, because they are doing well, like they're doing one-on-ones, it's going well, they have great reputation, they do a lot of networking, they have referrals, their business is growing, they have income, doing well, they have constant clients, everything's fine, and they still struggle. And they cannot put their fingers on what, and they start to feel a bit burnt out. And this doesn't really work, but it brings me the money. I want to do something else. And I think that's very risky area. And that's what I see most of the clients that I work with struggle with the most is I need a shift. I just don't know how to do the shift because I'm so used to doing this, what I'm doing right now, and I'm good at it. But I just start to feel that it's not enough. I'm not feeling good about it, and I'm afraid that it's going to affect the quality of the work I do with clients. And usually there comes a time, and it's not about the amount of years they spend in the business or how much they made. It's just it gets to your mind that you want to do more, you want to have bigger impact. You, like, if you do one-on-ones, there's a certain amount of time you can spend with doing one-on-ones, right? And you will always have impact on those 5 6 people you can take on per day if you do that on a daily basis. But if you want to have a bigger impact, you would move towards more a group program or offering a course or a membership, building a community. So you can have that bigger impact. You can have more people, and also not to think about, well, I mean, not to forget the income part of it. So you can have another source of income that could help you financially, and also maybe save up your time because you're not doing the in-person ones anymore. You focus yourself on online. So there's no time spent on commuting, no time spent on getting back and forth and traveling. You can focus more on the online percentage of your work, and fill the different areas of the income, the time, and the money all being better. But it's really hard to find the right direction and how to do that, because when you do the shift, it will also shift the audience you're working with, and then you like, there just has to be clarity around what is the direction you want to take.
Yeah, no, totally agree with all of that. What are you finding as far as when this is happening? Like when this is happening in the timeline of their business?
It's more of the common pattern I saw or see so far is these are women over 45 usually.
Okay.
And they have, by the time they have minimum 10 years of experience doing what they do,
Okay.
and they see a plummet in
Yeah.
their income because they cannot take on more clients because of the time constraint.
Yeah.
Yes, they could raise their prices, but that might mean that they cannot serve all the people they want to serve with.
Yeah.
So they would want to do this shift at this
Got it.
point.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And there is a scary feeling around raising prices.
Yes, and not just the prices, but look at what's going on with technology. There are new tools coming in. If you are doing the one-on-ones and then you find people, oh, I Googled it, and now it's ChatGPT, and they can do a lot of things with AI. And the results obviously are not going to be the same as working with an expert, but they're also worried about where is this leading. And then they see other, like they follow, obviously we're all following other experts and our peers in the industry, and we see, oh, they are thriving because they're using now this system and this tool, and everything seems so streamlined. And obviously people are drawn more towards to them. So you start to feel that you're behind. And oh my God, I need to implement these systems as well, but I have no idea where to start. And that's also very like scary in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as women that have their websites up, they are rolling with this homemade website that is not done with an expert. You know, the outside perspective of a prospect possibly looking at their website, checking them out. What are some downfalls that a lot of us are doing with our websites that is keeping a prospect from being able to see their potential, understand them, and actually purchase something from them?
Yeah. There are plenty, but I would give you probably 3. One of them is obviously the visual. So you go there and you see like it's really outdated. And by outdated, I mean the 90s. A lot of neon colors. That was fun then and looked nice. For health, it was neon green and it's like hurting your eyes, right? For blue, because blue is for professional. We want to look professional. But the blue is, even the hue of the blue is just like so strong. It's just, it seems too bold and downgrades their professional level. So it already cuts people off because they will think automatically or subconsciously that this is not a professional person because the way their site looks. That's the first thing everyone was going to look when they go to your website.
Yeah.
The second one is the message. Whatever's written there on the site, like, I'm helping anyone who's struggling with, and then you already lost the person. Especially now, even years ago, before this old AI era, you had about 3 to 5 seconds to convince someone of your being the right solution for their problem just when they got to your site. Now I think that time is even lower. Like, it's really just 2 3 seconds. They need to like go there, read the first sentence, and be able to tell, is this for me or not?
Yeah.
And the third one is not having a clear call to action, which is still so weird to think about. Like, you just need a button there, either in the center or up somewhere. Just like, you need a button to lead somewhere, to lead people somewhere to either book a call with you, get on a podcast, whatever the goal is, right? Or get on your email list. Just lead them down the line so they can take action. You want them to take action right away. And just these three, if you fix these three, it's already a win.
Yeah.
Even just the button is a win, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's not happening.
Yeah. I totally agree with the colors. I was actually just on a call with somebody and we were talking about the website, and that was the number one thing that I said is one of the colors that they had chosen was this kind of juvenile, like this juvenile, playful little girl type. And with the amount of money that this woman is collecting, right? Tens of thousands of dollars, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, $12,000 per client, the color scheme of her website needs to match the amount of money that somebody is paying. If somebody goes onto your website and they see a cutesy little Crayola purple pink, that doesn't convey richness. And that's literally one of the things we were talking about is, Googling what are the most rich, powerful colors that pop up. And you'll see dark reds, dark purples, dark blues, dark greens, blacks, charcoals. And that in itself can totally, I go onto a website and I see bright greens, like Orshi's talking about, I'm out.
Yes. And it's not just about the color. It's the overall visual, like how does it make the person feel?
Yeah.
It's the color, it's the font, it's the pictures. There are people who are still using their pictures from 15 years ago.
I know.
And then you get on a call with them and they look completely different. Their hair is different. The color of their hair is different. The way they look is different. Like it's just, it will give them a distrust or mistrust, right? Like it's not what I saw there and I'm getting something completely different. And also when you get to the price, right? Like, why would they charge so much if all of this looks so out of place? It feels like a scam.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. What is your thought process as far as professional photos? How often those are taken? Because like you said, sometimes it's 15 years, it feels like. Well, how often should we be taking new updated profile pictures and updating our pictures on our websites?
I think it depends on two aspects. One is you changed a lot, like physically. You have a different hair, shorter, whatever, right? Got thinner, maybe changed weight. That would be one of the reasons, but not the most important one. I think every 2-3 years we go through an evolution in our business that will change our own style, which is also leading to changing a bit of our brand or tweaking the brand. I'm not talking about 180 degrees shift. I'm talking about updating those photos because yes, you're getting older. You're not going to get younger, unfortunately, or at least not yet.
Yeah.
And you will go from being a beginner and having a certain style preference, either again physically or in your business and the way you show up, and that's going to evolve. So if these doesn't match the way you show up, then there's going to be an inconsistency again, and that will lead to people not trusting you, being able to deliver on the promise that you said you would on your website.
Yeah, I like that. And then messaging. You gave really, really good examples around messaging. How do we know though? Like, I wrote the website. I think the website's good. Is the only way to know is by having a call with Orshi, or is there clues that our messaging is off?
Well, probably the easiest is to, as you do networking, or maybe not networking because that's more of a business setting, but if you have people you trust as their opinion, and you send them your website, they haven't seen it before, that's the best. Like a random person, you send your website and you ask them what you feel and what you think about it. So how does it make you feel when you see what's on my site, and what does it tell you that I'm doing? Because when you get that from a stranger per se, or a friend who you trust, then you realize either you're on point or you're not. Like that's the easiest. Or
Yeah.
you, let's say, if that's not the case, if you're part of a networking group or a business mastermind, and you have trusted people there, trusted peers, that's the best way to put it there. Because I know this is a very vulnerable area and we don't like getting negative feedback, but we do need those negative feedback in order to make changes. Because if we are in the oblivion of, oh, this is all perfect and I know what I'm doing, and then nobody else knows what you're doing, then you're off. Even when you say your pitch on a networking call and you see and nobody asks you, oh, so how you do that, that means they didn't understand what you're doing. And it's the same with a website.
Yep. Love it. And then the third one was the buttons.
Oh yeah, the buttons. Oh my God. But the buttons itself, to have them and for them to work. Because
Totally.
you have a button there and they clicking and nothing, it doesn't do anything, then it's just a very bad experience and you're going to lose the person. So they want to take action. You need to lead them down the line. And it has to be clear what the expectations are there. So you need to clarify not just the message, but also what the goal of the website is. Being a coach or a consultant, you probably want to get on a call with them to understand their pain points, problems, and how you can help. So the main goal would be to book a call. That button needs to say, book a call with me, instead of learn more or click here. Like click here doesn't say anything. It has to be clear in terms of label and then what to expect. If I'm reading book a call, then I know I'll be led to a calendar where I can pick out the time and date that would work for me. If it doesn't lead there, but it will give me a form of filling out 15 different questions about my business, and then you'll get back to me in 48 hours after you read through and decided whether we should talk or not, then I'm off, because I don't feel special enough for you to get a call with me.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. I know you talk a lot about people who leak money, who leak opportunities. They're afraid of the tech. They're afraid of the change. They're afraid to link up with a professional, an expert. They don't necessarily want to invest in their business. And I know you talk often about the amount of money or leaking that happens in a person's business because they're unwilling to make these changes in their business and just everything's fine. I'd love to kind of just hear your thoughts on that and for you to expand on that thought process.
Sure. This goes back to the topic I mentioned in the beginning of our talk around the patterns that I saw emerge with all the clients that we work with. They struggle with visibility, conversion, operations, or delegation. And depending on which was the main area they were struggling with, they obviously wanted to get more traffic, or they had traffic and they wanted to convert more clients and have more income. Or maybe they had 15 different tools. They bought into the new one because they needed help with this area of their business. And the tools are not communicating. They are all overwhelmed around using all these different tools. They paying all the money that adds up, right? Like $20 here, $12 there. Like it will all add up on a monthly basis, and it doesn't work out. And they get overwhelmed and they get to the point where, oh, I need help. I need to hire an assistant, or I need a contractor, or I need an employee. And then they bring the person in, and then the person has no idea what to do. And the main problem with the delegation is that usually, if we're honest with ourselves, We want to delegate the thinking part, not the doing part. We want someone to come in and just do it for me. Like, I don't want to make decisions. I have enough on my plate. I just want you to take over. Obviously, you cannot expect someone 5 days in your business to do the same level of work or business, or just manage your business the same way as you do after five years. And this is what I call the patch tax, which is the time and money you spend on um, being all over the place, like all different social media channels, having different messaging. It doesn't work. People are not clicking. So you change the headline, you change your bio, you add a new link. The same with the website. You get the traffic, but people are not buying. So, oh, it must be the offer. Let me change the offer. Let me change the button label. Oh, maybe add a new funnel behind it. Or if they're struggling with the operations, then, oh, maybe I need a new tool because I saw it, because the algorithm showed me, oh, now I need this project management system and that AI tool that would help me in my business. And it's all just leaking your time and leaking your money. And the reason why I call it the patch tax is that if you just track your time for 1 week or even just one day and see where all your time is going, and then you multiply that with your hourly rate, you would be surprised how much time and money you're actually leaking out of your business, because you are just patching things up and there's no clarity over where you're going. And with that, it's like, after seeing all that happening with businesses, we came up with a framework that is just out of 3 steps: having clarity, that creates the foundation of your business with a roadmap of what needs to be done and when, then build it out in that order and start with just the lowest hanging fruit, which is the easiest and gives the biggest leak in in your business, and then optimize. And then once that's done, you can do it for the next thing and the next thing, and it gives really amazing results. But it has to start with clarity first.
Yeah, I just love this. What was it? It was visibility, delegation, operation,
and conversion.
Yeah.
And they usually build on one another, because it will build based on where you're at in your business. When you're new to it, like when you're starting out or you've just been doing this for a couple of years, you still want to get visibility. You want to put your name out there. So you will be like, oh, I'm showing up on Instagram and YouTube and podcasts and doing all sorts of things. Then you get the traffic, but you're not converting people to become clients. There's no income coming in. When you get the clients, you get overwhelmed, because then you have to deliver. So it becomes an operational problem. You need the tools, you need the help. And when you get to the point where you need the help, you don't know how to delegate, because you don't have the documentation, the processes in place, and you just don't know how to explain what you do properly and with quality to the virtual assistant or the contractor who you're hiring. So it all adds up. It's kind of like it's a funnel as well that you go through. And obviously you have to get to a point where you're ready to delegate. It might not be a right time, but as you said, yes, and we discussed this, yes, you can do it for a while on your own, but you're going to end up doing a lot of patching. And that's why you need an expert to help you sit down. And if it's painful, it has to be painful, to be honest. Like, you have to sit down and just like make your brain think and slow down and understand what is the direction you want to take for the next 1 or 2 years. And I'm not talking about deciding something for 20 years, because everything is changing so fast now. We're just trying to find a direction for just the next year. That would be, I think, awesome, because then you have a goal and you're working towards that goal, and then you can build everything around that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we were just talking about this before we got onto the podcast, as far as, one of the things that Orshi does with her business, as far as rebranding websites, one of the options that she has is to do a 4-hour sit down with her, where she actually sits down and makes you focus on your business and the direction of which it's going for a full 4 hours. And it's very uncomfortable. And we go, and there's so much stuff that's gone over, and you feel like you want to pull your teeth out. But the amount of clarity that happens at the back end of those calls is just insurmountable. It's huge. You get huge breakthroughs with where you're going and the impact that you want to be making in your business and with your clients. And it's something that we should all be doing with our business,
Yeah.
just in general, that we're not doing. But the difference between doing it on your own and doing it with an expert is an expert knows the questions to ask in order to get the information from you, right? When you're sitting down with yourself, you're like, I'm just going to sit down with myself for 4 hours and like figure my shit out. But do you know the questions of which you're supposed to ask yourself in order to get to that point? When you're sitting in with an expert, like someone like Orshi, she has 8 years of experience. She's in 47 different industries. She knows at this point all the questions to be asking to make sure that she's pulling out the correct information out of you to get that focus that you need. And, to kind of pull all of this together, when you're looking at your website and you're thinking of your clients and the prospects and the impact that you want to make on your world, she mentioned just simple things like colors, messaging, buttons, things that you can kind of do on your own right now for free. But when you're ready to really make an impact, when you're really to really take your business to the next level, linking up with someone like her in order to stop the tax that she's talking about, that patch tax, because a lot of it really does start with the foundation of your business, your website, and then it leaks. One of the things that we opened up with is your website is just connected to everything. It's like a black hole. It's connected to your systems and your emails and your funnels and your sales, and it all leads back and it's all intertwined with the website, which is the branding. And so much of us are losing money and time and energy because so many of our systems are not lined up the way they're supposed to be, which is then leaking onto our team, which is then leaking onto our VAs. And so many of us are, just throwing money, time out the window unnecessarily because we're not doing the foundational things when we should be, in our business. I love this.
Yeah, definitely. And I would also add, just as a final note, is with clarity, when you have that type of foundation and going through that 4 hours of brain fry, that's the way I call it, you kind of get to a point where you can come in with, I think one of our clients used this earlier. I feel like my head is a tree. I have all these branches coming out and I have this idea and that idea. And then, yes, because we're doing a brainstorming process and you get all the creative ideas and you want to do a lot of different things. And as we go through the process, we are cutting back those branches because this doesn't make sense for this thing, or maybe makes sense later. Like, we're cutting back until you get to one clear direction that you want to take. And that will give such a foundation that even later on, even down the line, a couple of months now, you say, no, I want to add this new offer. You can add that new offer because it's going to fit into the ecosystem. And you can put that in a lot more easier instead of doing the patching and then everything is just broken and you're adding a random offer. So it's a lot more cleaner, a lot more like it's easier to scale with that because you have the foundation you can add and stack on top of it compared to the other one where let's add a sixth offer. And the same with AI and as these tools, we think that we're saving so much time with using these AI tools. Like, oh, because it's writing my copy and it's giving me brainstorm ideas. And oh, I can come up with 5 new offers. Yes. And if you start to implement, which is what happens most of the time, oh, I save time on the thinking and I save time on creating the content. Oh, let me quickly put this together. That's also part of the leak process, right? Because if you don't think that through, how does that fit into your entire strategy and into the foundations, then you're going to end up adding just more to it. So AI is not going to save your business until you actually have a direction. And when you have the direction, then you can document everything. You know your messaging, you know your audience, you know your offer, you know who you're talking to, and you know all the pillars that goes into how you help your clients. And you can feed that to AI, and then AI can give you better outcomes and not just random, oh, let's look at what other coaches and consultants do. It will actually work for you, not giving you more time and money to leak.
Yeah, totally agree. This was great. For those of you listening live, for those of you listening on the replay, for those of you just jumping on, highly recommend you to listen from the beginning. Great insight on websites just in general, websites and how it's connected to your business. Lots and lots of stuff covered here today. Thank you so much, Orshi, for being here, hanging out with us. Any closing thoughts as we I know you kind of did a closing thoughts, but any other closing thoughts as we kind of wrap up here?
I would say that if your business feels suffocating, then the answer is not a new tool, a new offer, a new headline, a new lead magnet. It is clarity, and then cleaning up all the branches and cutting up back all the branches you have in your head and come up with a simple plan, because these plans are simple. You just have to execute it. Once you have the plan, it's a lot easier to execute, and then everything will work well.
Yeah. I love that you're saying simple, because I do think a lot of times we think this stuff is so complicated, and so much business is simple. It's just doing it and knowing it, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of these simple things, it's like, I didn't even know that to know that I wasn't doing it.
Exactly. And a lot of experts talk about, your business has to be boring. You have to do boring in the sense of you consistently doing the same things all over repetitively, and that becomes boring, but you have to keep showing up. And for a while, I've been hearing like, how does this get boring? I do so many different things. Yes, because you are doing so many different things, not one in one direction. If you know the direction, there's going to be always the same things, not 100 different. There will be 5, 6 in an order, and then you keep repeating that and you'll see results. And that's a huge difference.
Gorgeous. All right, lady. Well, this has been great. Thank you for those of you that are listening live. For those of you listening on the replay, this brings us to an end of yet another incredible episode of Her Talk Show. Thank you, Orshi, for sharing your wisdom, inspiring us all. To our dedicated listeners, thank you for staying with us until the very end. Once again, my name is Sabrina Victoria, and I invite you to join our amazing community, or she's in our community, called Her Nation Global, where we continue to uplift each other every step of the way as women business owners. As I always say, do something awesome today.